Alright, so now that we're registered and we've become our app's first user, we need to be able to log into our app. But as you remember, once registration is successful, we automatically take the user to the chat view controller. So in order to go back to the login screen, we must be able to log out. So let's implement that first. So if you have a look at the storyboard, you can see that in the chat view controller, we've got a button here that's called log out. And it's linked up to an IB action in here called logout pressed. And this is where we're going to put the code in order to log the current user out. So let's go ahead and change back to a single page editor and go over to the chat view controller. Now, in order to log out, we're going to have to use a Firebase method. And in order to use anything from the Firebase module, of course, we first have to import Firebase. So next, we're going to head to the part where the logging out is going to happen. So Firebase provides us with a method called signout. So it's fearauth.auth.signout. Okay, so you can see that Xcode marks this method signout with a keyword saying throws. And that's telling you that this method can throw an error. So if I go ahead and just try to do this, Xcode will give me an error. And it's telling me that signout can throw, but is not marked with a try and the error is not handled. So we first came across this when we built the Xylophone app and we looked at error handling in Swift. Now there's certain methods that you know ahead of time can potentially fail. So when we try to sign out, maybe the network isn't active, maybe there's no internet connection, maybe we're unable to sign out the current user. For whatever reasons, the Firebase team decided to create this method that can throw out an error code telling you that something went wrong and this is what happened. So when it is a method that can throw an error, we have to call this method inside a do catch block. So the way that we structure our syntax is like the following. So we enclose the method that can cause trouble inside a do block, and then we have a catch block, which is where the code will jump to if there were any errors. And so if there were any errors, then let's just print out error, there was a problem signing out. And of course, at the moment, this print statement only goes into the console, so it's only for the developer to see. But of course, you can also update a UI label in this catch block so that you warn the user that there was a problem with signing out and maybe get them to check their internet connection. Now, not only do you have to put this method inside a do block, but you also have to mark it with the keyword try, i.e. this is the line of code that's potentially going to cause trouble. We're going to do it anyways, but if it fails, head over here and do something else. So that was a review of the do catch block and error handling using it in Swift. Now, if there were no problems signing the user out, then we want to navigate back to the root view controller. So if we have a look back at our main.storyboard, you can see that we've got several view controllers that will stack on top of each other when we're navigating from one to the other. So for example, the current journey that we've taken is from the welcome screen, we've gone to the registration screen, and then from here, once we've successfully registered, we go to the chat view controller. So at this stage, this view controller is stacked on top of this one, and which is in turn stacked on top of this one. All of these view controllers are nested inside what's called a navigation controller. So the navigation controller gives us this navigation bar at the top of our app. And you would have seen this in a lot of apps. And the advantage of this and the beauty of having that navigation controller is that it makes it easy to go forwards and backwards between view controllers. So let me show you what I mean. So once we click on the register screen, you can see that we've got the register view controller that's now stacked on top of the welcome view controller. And because all of these view controllers are nested inside a navigation controller, we get access to these navigation features like the back button, which takes us back to the welcome screen. And a shortcut that comes along with that is that when you swipe from the very left edge of your app to the right, it also triggers going back to the previous view controller. So That's the beauty of navigation controllers. And they're also extremely easy to make. So say in our hypothetical app we have two view controllers which are linked to each other using segues, then in order to embed everything inside a navigation controller, all you have to do is just select the initial view controller, go to Editor, and then go to Embed in Navigation Controller. So now both of these view controllers get a navigation bar at the top, and when you go from one to the other, you also get a back button that allows you to navigate freely between the view controllers. And now this is a good point to explain the difference between different types of segues. So the show segue is usually reserved for navigating between view controllers that are nested inside a navigation controller. But present modally means that the view controller that gets presented is not a part of the navigation stack. Instead, it's something that's just going to pop up now and then it's just going to disappear. And as you can see, it doesn't get the nav bar and it doesn't get to be in the cool club of the navigation controller stack. Now, navigation controllers are pretty simple components. To understand them, all you have to do is just think about pancakes. Now, this has nothing to do with the fact that I'm really hungry right now, so I've decided to pick out this example. But if you think about navigation controllers like it's a stack of pancakes, you wouldn't go and try and grab one of the pancakes from below, right? In order to get at the third pancake or in order to get at the bottom pancake, you would have to pop off each pancake. Or in most cases, you would gobble it up, right? So you eat the first one, then you eat the next one, then you eat the next one. And only once you've popped off all four from the top can you get access to the last pancake, which in iOS lingo is known as the root view controller.